Hey man,
Finally.
I like that article. I just spun through that real quick. So what my
Mm.
what I'm referring to, folks, for those of you who are just joining us, is Deepak sent me an article in California, um, where you literally are not going to be able to use discrimination through the caste system in America. That is bringing some old world problems to the new world, my man.
I know.
Wow.
I've been waiting to
Dang.
use this sentence for something all like for the past 3 days, where I
Yeah.
wanted to tell somebody you cannot polish a turd, but you can definitely roll it in glitter. I've had no use for it, Sean, all day.
Okay, that's actually pretty good. Okay, I've got your next stand-up routine for you. So
uh-huh.
we our great school system here. So I want to cover some stuff for people why I talk about this so much. So I first moved to Oklahoma 25 years ago. So in 2011, we were 17th in America in education, which we'd gone up the sky, invested tons of money in it, all this other stuff.
By the
So
way, that's just for people. That's when I graduated. So I was actually
you
in the good
graduated
part of the system.
at the peak. Well, I know, because it's worrying, isn't it? You go, so
Mhm.
this guy's name was Brad Henry, and he was a pretty solid governor. His wife is actually maybe the brains of the operation, but who cares? It worked. So we were 17th in America, which, you're competitive. You're in the top third.
Mhm.
Now we are last.
Yeah.
And only one political party has been in charge since then. Only one.
Hmm.
Yet they're blaming people that are drag queens for our problems. I
Is this
I just
the
don't even know what to do with it. It's such a turd, to use your term. It's not even a turd in glitter. Well, maybe the drag queen would be the glitter portion of the whole thing. But we're in like a dystopian nightmare right now here. I
hmm
mean, I just, you know, and you all need to keep an eye out for this, because once again, I think it's amazing that California is doing this anti-discrimination thing, because none of
hmm
us here understand your caste system other than, did the English invent it? I mean, who used this shit to play you
No,
guys?
it is actually a old. It existed like way back when. It was basically a classification based on your occupation, is my guess. So, like the highest caste were like the priests. The
Yeah,
second were like the warriors. The third were like
yeah,
the agriculturists and craftsmen. And the
yeah.
last one were the sanitation workers and the garbage collectors and things like
Yeah.
that. And those
So
were
the
the
people
that was
with
the
the single most important job, which is to keep everyone else from being sick, you guys put at the bottom?
mm-hmm, because the richer
Wow.
classes didn't want to get in contact with them and fall ill.
Yeah. So in America, we had a plague back in the early 1900s. And you know who was dying right and left? The servants at the wealthy homes, because they still had to show up to work. They couldn't
Oh,
take off work. Yeah, they weren't affluent
mm-hmm.
enough,
Yeah.
or they were indentured servants and they had to show up. And yeah, the other people just breathed on them and killed them. So
There was this.
we have had our own version of a caste
Mm-hmm.
system. We just don't call it that. Yeah.
I'm not going to call this the funny part. There is a old thing about.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
I started by saying I'm not. Damn it.
Right. Okay.
No, there's this old thing about like when they basically burned and killed witches. It was
Yeah.
always like a single lady who was either like widowed or just living by herself. The
Right.
reason why at times they would like think that they're witches and kill them is because most of the single ladies who lived alone would have a cat at home. The
Right.
cats would keep away the rats that were carrying the plague, the
Oh my
fleas.
God. So they didn't
So
get the plague.
so these fucking morons
Wow.
thought that these were witches because they went falling ill, not realizing the cat
Yeah.
was killing all the stupid rats before they entered the house.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've never heard that before, but that makes absolute and utter sense. Wow. Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
men have hated women. It's not new. It's not, and it's not because of their mothers. You know, um, for some reason or another, and I've never been a person who wanted a woman to be subjective to me or subordinate or anything. I've just never been interested in that. But my mom was well educated. So were her sisters. My dad was the one that was the least educated. So I just grew up in the odd opposite environment.
Yeah.
But it's a crazy thing. So let me tell you what we got going here. For those of you watching, take your time to Google a thing called Prager, Prageru. So wouldn't you assume that's a university since they had the audacity to put the U behind it?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not. It is literally like a clearinghouse for white Christian national videos, inaccurate history. It's all this stuff. So
oh shit, is it the animated series where they talk about like, oh my God, yeah, I remember seeing that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we've now made a deal in our education system that went from 17th to 50th to have this shit available. And I don't know where all these soft little white kids come from because, we were always told what the English did to everybody, as you were. And you were living in England at the time. England doesn't give a shit. They just own it. Yeah. We are the only people I know still trying to act like nothing happened. So the one that I watched yesterday was basically about slavery. And they were like, well, but everybody had slaves back then. So you have to take history and the time. And you would go, yeah, but it's okay now to say that was a really bad idea. But the only person I have to worry about is my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, is what they said at the end of it. And I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Literally, it's not just some religious indoctrination. It is falsified history and all this other shit. And so I made 2 TikTok videos this morning, neither of which loaded about the same thing, which makes me paranoid. I'm not really one of those crazy paranoid people, but two in a row to not load is pretty weird.
By the way,
for those of you in India,
when you called me and I accidentally called you, it was because I was trying to uninstall TikTok on my phone because it no longer lets me log in. And I accidentally don't know how I hit call.
Right. Well, okay. So for those of you in India that aren't allowed TikTok, it is the only way that I get to talk to rural Oklahomans. There's no other way to get to them so they can just hear a different message. Otherwise, they only hear one, they hear Modi's message, for lack of a better word. I'm not making fun of Modi, maybe. But they only hear that one message, and this is a way to do it. So I will guarantee you here, this TikTok will be illegal here in another year or 2.
Isn't it fascinating that rural America now gets its news from TikTok of all the things?
Well, I don't know if it's news, but they get more information. But they don't. They get rural news, and so if you're in the southern part of Oklahoma, you're getting it from Texas. If you're in the northern part of Oklahoma, you're getting it from Kansas. You lived in one of the major cities, so here in Tulsa have their own news, but they're completely different. Like it's mind-boggling. So we are the size of Ireland, the country. We have 4 million people, and we have 2 major cities, and comparatively, we do a lot of the same things. And Ireland could be called a religious state because the Catholic Church ran it. They ran the southern part anyway. And so we have a lot in common, and we just keep keeping some of the bad things. But I want to get back for a second to this PragerU shit. This guy was a talk show host, literally, and figured out a way to market this stuff. And what they do to get it in schools is they don't sell it to the schools, they donate it. No. So literally, it's right-wing propaganda donated to schools with a little bit of enough religious context to keep those people from complaining. But the biggest donors, sorry, go ahead.
Is it like a set up as a non-profit? That way they just get donations and keep their fucking thing running? Or is this like an IRS? Is this like the preacher who's just waiting for the IRS to bust in?
I think this one's better set up because it's charity, so it probably is a nonprofit. But they brought in $28 million in donations last year. 28 million, and a whole bunch of them were individual donations. So it's Christians across America. Look, we've got the same religious problems you guys have. Ours are just they sound better because the majority of the people here are Christians. So they're but Okay, let me get back to the thing. So $28 million last year. They got $800,000 from the federal government during COVID. They make videos. I mean, but they got 800,000. So Sheldon Adelson is one of their big donors. This guy that, you know, Aubrey McClendon used to be the king of fracking. So this is the guy now. And look, the deal is there's still a lot of these are anti-climate change stuff. And you just go, my God, you look at your weather. You finally had your monsoon in one day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, I mean, we've had the weirdest summer I've ever seen. It is, I just don't know. What I keep trying to explain to people that is not getting through is there is a direct correlation between who is in charge and what happens to education.
Yeah.
In some way or another, they've managed it to blame it on the other side, which is brilliant marketing. I will give them credit where it's due.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant marketing. I mean, when you can blame the other guy for the shit that you did on purpose, it's pretty good. But where do we go from here? And the reason I say it to our Indian audience, she goes, you're going to be here in 20 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Guarantee it. You'll be here in 20 years because your next generation that has money will be soft. You know, and if not, then the next one 20 or 30 years later will be softer because they don't have to do the same shit.
I was actually talking to someone recently about how we keep imitating the West every now and then. Like at certain times when you listen to the news here, right? If you're not watching the screen, it sounds like it almost sounds like they're reporting on a two-party system, which ours isn't, because it's a parliamentary system. And I don't know why, because of the way news is covered, they keep covering it as just two individual parties going against each other.
Right.
That way you drown out all the voices of the individual parties that used to form coalitions and shit. And you just claim that, we're a two-party system. That's what's going to happen in the next 10 years if it continues this way.
Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. And I don't, just because of sheer ignorance, I don't know how solvable it is here. You know, we dropped from being number one in education in the world to, you know, we're like 35th or 50th at this point, America is. And it's, man, it's the maturation of a republic. You look at England, you know, they're 200 years ahead of us. You know, we took all their money in World War II, but we also took all their manufacturing before that. You know, they used to try to send that stuff up to Scotland and Ireland and Wales, you know, and all the contamination that comes with it. But then they got America and we did all that cheap stuff for a while. And then, so we use Mexico that same way and Central America and South America. And now everybody uses China as the dumping ground for making everything, including the pollution that comes along with it. It's really and truly, it's a bizarre dynamic, but I just keep watching this thing fall while I'm here. I mean, I've been here 23 years. So I was here as it peaked and now I'm watching. Well, we're at the bottom. So, I mean, we're literally top 10 if you count backwards.
Yeah.
You can use that one.
That's a positive way.
You can use that one. All right. So I watched an interview with Jon Stewart and he was talking about George Carlin and how negative George had gotten by the end of it. And he said, George Carlin was the hardest working heavy dope smoker I've ever seen. The guy would literally get up in the morning and at 9 a.m. start writing all day long. And he wrote jokes all day long. And he goes, that's why he was that good. But he said by the end of his life, he was just disappointed in humanity. It wasn't that he was angry. He was just disappointed. I was like, okay. I'll
Makes
take
sense,
that
right?
Right. But I always really thought, as far as comedians went, he was the most intelligent one I saw. But I thought Andrew Dice Clay had a better delivery. I really did. Andrew Dice Clay could say the same stuff and have it resonate and sit on the heads it needed to sit. You know, but
the other day I was thinking about it. Do you think it was Carlin's speed of delivery because he was probably on cocaine at that time, so people didn't register what the hell he was saying?
You're just like, this guy has so much energy. I wish I had that energy at that age. And you're like, oh, they manufacture that. So, God, it is nuts. So I am getting ready to go out of town. I did think our segment on Irish funerals was hilarious, by the way.
By the way, on YouTube, it was basically flagged as could be harmful. I was like, dude, we are not advocating for someone killing themselves. We were just talking about funerals.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. That's pretty good. Well, what's going on in your world? That's kind of my rants for the day. I'm just dealing with these morons.
The funny part was, so I did go on stage on Monday. It was good. I didn't use my COVID joke for the sole reason there was a lady sitting in the audience who was like in her 60s, slightly overweight, and I was like, okay, she might have been in risk or on a ventilator, so I didn't want to.
Oh my God.
I was about to go back to it the moment she paid her check and got up to leave. I should have gone back and completed it. I was like, oh, now that she's gone, I'll tell you guys this.
I'll tell you the joke. She's gone. So I was talking to Rachel, a communal friend of ours, and she said she's dealing with all these long COVID cases in the hospital now. And they're, just older white guys that wouldn't take the vaccine, and they're just suffering horribly. Yeah. Now, since we've talked about something else positive here, I think I could write a good 20-minute set on behavior during COVID. I don't want, you don't want to write it about COVID itself, but the weird behavior of people. So they were either, and it wasn't a whole pendulum swing, but that's what I was exposed to. So they either came in masked and gloved and everything and wanted to get food to take home, and they just wanted to keep us in business. And then we had the other people that asked me to not wear a mask around them. And I go, no. And they go, no, really, we just don't like them. And I go, yeah, I'd like to be alive tomorrow. I don't know where the hell have you all have been. And you know me, I wasn't kind about it to anybody. I'm like, so you don't care if I die, so you cannot be bothered by my mask. And they'd be like, no, I didn't say that. And I go, I know, it's not just inferred.
Why does it keep saying, oops, battery low? Is that your phone or my phone?
That's your battery, bro. That's not mine. Mine says it's got a red thing going, beep, 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 record. Of course, I don't have glasses on. But
I have no idea what the hell that is going on.
Are you on your computer or your phone?
I'm on my computer.
Oh,
I have no idea why it kept saying battery low.
Yeah. But you don't have enough titanium.
There are like 6 different things we have to use, Sean, every time I have to do this. I have to check if the laptop is charged, my phone is charged, the headphones are charged, the microphone's charged. I'm like, God. By the end of it, I'm like, I don't know which one is not working right now.
Right. I was supposed to have a lady show up to the one that we shoot on Tuesday to watch it, because she wants to do it out in Western Oklahoma, because I made this offer, which, really I have no right to do, because you produce this one and Kit Fairchild produces the other one. I'm just a guest. But I'm like, yeah, we'll teach you how to do it. Sure, we will. I don't know shit about any of it.
Okay, right now it is technical difficulties, and it's me.
Okay.
It is my battery.
Do we need to go off?
Don't worry, we'll just go off the main microphone.
Okay, because I can hear you perfectly fine, so something's working.
Weirdly enough, the warning on that stupid earphone, in my ear, all it says is, oops, battery low. It kept doing that for the past 3 times, and I'm wondering where the hell is that?
So you were literally like the newsman, rolling your eyes, going, stop saying this, you're making me lose my point. Wow.
You know that feeling, right? When the producer is screaming in your ear saying, hey, cover this, hey, do that. I was like, who the hell is yelling in my ear?
And I am in the middle of a sentence. I can't multitask. Okay, the worst one I ever did. So I am in, I don't know if I've ever told you this. So I'm in Times Square, and there's a studio there. And so I get invited to do this talk about COPD and lungs. And I'm going to be in 14 different major cities in America. So I'm going to be in front of like 40 million people for morning news one year. And so we've rehearsed it, but we've rehearsed it only on Zoom. Okay. So you get into the studio, and the guy goes, camera 1's here, camera 2 is here. So you always open up in a newscast with like what people see right now of your face.
Yeah.
And then they go to what's called a two shot for people that don't understand what it means, where I would be sitting beside you and they can see both of us. And then they go one shot to who's ever talking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what went wrong. And this guy is circling his arms like this and pointing, but not at a goddamn camera. He's just pointing.
Uh-huh.
Finally, we cut to commercial, and we were on in Los Angeles. 4 million people are watching this, and I look like an idiot looking up at the sky. I'm trying to figure out what the guy's doing, and it's live TV, and we've never worked together before, so I don't understand his hand signals. The only thing we had in common is stretch. Where you hold your hands together and pull them apart.
Yeah.
We get off, and he goes, "Didn't you see me pointing at the camera?" And I said, "No, I saw you drawing big, huge circles that made no sense and then pointing in the general vicinity of that side of the room." And then we get the rest of them fine, and everyone's like, "Well, how did everything go?" And he goes, "Oh, the first part was terrible, but everything else was great." Okay, one more funny thing about doing that shoot. So the lady doing my makeup, and most of you who national TV, everybody has literally layers of makeup on. She comes in and darkens me out like I've never seen, and I thought I had slept well, but evidently I didn't. And she goes, "Hun, don't worry. I make Keith Richards look good. I can make you look good." Now, that is not a compliment.
I don't know. We're just taking this as one, John.
I can make Keith Richards look good. I really wanted to say, "Show me the effing picture," because I've never seen that guy look good.
That is a good thing.
I got that going for me. Yeah, so it was my big national news debut. And you would think on something like that, that you would get like phone calls or something from across the nation, people that knew you. Nothing.
That is just awesome.
Right. And I'm on there with the foremost expert in COPD in America. And I literally was like, I am in a place I do not belong. This guy is way too smart for me. And, they would just talk about kind of my stuff with it. And then he would chime in on the scientific facts. It was really a pretty decent interview.
See, that was what that old episode that we had on intruder syndrome was.
Right. Yeah.
You just sit amongst them and go like, "What are you doing here?" You talk to yourself.
So impersonator syndrome. What's it actually called?
It was imposter syndrome.
Imposter, yeah, not impersonator. And I really was sitting there, but I'm like, oh, well, I'm the sick guy, so I'm the right person to be here. Yeah. For any of you who wonder here, listen, that's what my lungs sound like. That's why I was on there.
Oh God! Stop blowing into the damn microphone.
Yeah, and so my daughter wanted to go to New York with me and didn't say anything. And so like 6 months later, she was like, "Such and such show was there. I wanted to see that show." And I go, "Well, God, I had a huge hotel and I had a driver 24/7. Why didn't you tell me you wanted to go?" I mean, all we would have had to do is pay for the airplane ticket. And she goes, "Well, I just thought you would ask." And I go, I was there I was working, like they paid me to be there.
That was funny, right? At times when even when I used to travel for work, like some friend of mine would be like, "Hey, we were there. Why didn't you call me?" I'm like, "Dude, it wasn't a trip for me to meet you people. I was there for work."
Yeah, I was in the studio probably. So I stayed there. I felt like an asshole in Manhattan, in a blacked out Suburban where, the gas was probably $15 a gallon. I just felt like a total ass. I really did. And the hotel was just shockingly nice. And, but all I did was sleep there because I went out and ate pizza like 3 times a day and thoroughly enjoyed myself. But we were in the studio forever, and it was and it's New York, so I'm sure it's $500 a square foot. So it was about as big as the pub, the whole studio.
Yeah. There was one time where I was walking through, I think it was Soho, and it was pouring, okay? So I basically bought like an umbrella from one of those fucking peddlers on the sidewalk.
Street vendor.
and I was just walking, and I bumped into a guy and a dog, okay? So because I wasn't looking up, and then I looked up, I wiped off the water, cleared my glasses, and he did the same. And I was like, "I'm so sorry." And he was like, "Ah, it's all right." And I continued walking, and in my head, I was like, hang on, that was fucking John Oliver.
Get out! No! Oh shit!
But
So
he was
that
trying to
would have
take his
been
dog out to pee. Why would I fucking interrupt him?
okay. Yeah, but in the rain, yeah, I wouldn't want you interrupting me in the rain either. Hey, I saw you on the news this morning. You're like, was I arrested or was I on my own? I would like to have lunch with John Oliver. I think that would be fun. He is he's a smart guy. That would be interesting.
Like one of the best episodes I've seen was when I think it was Jerry Seinfeld interviewing him during that Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee.
Right.
You should check that out.
I don't think I've seen that one. Yeah.
Check it out on Netflix. It's almost every famous comedian you would like to see just having coffee with Jerry.
Oh wow. I've seen an episode or two. But you do that. You evidently sleep weirder than I do because you get to check all that kind of stuff out. I just what I get stuck on is like I'm reading a book called Barnum about Barnum and Bailey Circus, and I am only at like page 150, and I've had the book for 2 weeks. It's embarrassing, but it's awesome because from a political standpoint, I can see how people copied this guy because it works. Yeah. But the book itself was sent to me by some other guy in Tulsa that from back when my wife used to run for statewide office. So it's a good one. I'll save it for you when you get back. Somebody asked me when you're coming back, and I go, I don't know what the deal is, man. You got to ask him. Literally, if Donald Trump gets reelected, he's probably not coming.
Right now, I've just been spending time annoying people. Do you know one of our common friends before? I used to complain to him about all the fucking homework and other things he would make us read. And there were times where there was a table in the pub who was like really loud. And I'd always just look at him and be like, hey, they look like they're having too much fun. Can you please go there and suck all the fun out of that?
There you go. How very British of you.
And now I have become that guy is what I noticed the other day because I was talking to a friend of mine. And a lot of my friends here who got married before I came back to the US in 2016 are like now divorced. And she was talking to me about her divorce. And I wasn't really paying attention because it almost all the stories are now starting to just blend together where I haven't been keeping track correctly.
Right.
And she looked at me and she was like, you look like the most disinterested person. I was like, oh, no. And my point was, yes, I am disinterested because I don't have any skin in the game. The word you were looking for was uninterested. I am uninterested. And one of my buddies sitting next to me sees this other table laughing really loudly. And he was like, go tell them your grammar jokes. They'll probably fucking like it.
That was pretty good, though. I have to be honest. That was pretty good. When I go home, I'm only there for a couple of days. So you just kind of catch up with everybody. But if I'm back for like a funeral, like I'm doing this, you'll be there for a couple of days and it's all people you haven't seen. Shit, I can't recognize so many of them. You guys all probably still look similar. Wait till you're 50 or 60. Nobody looks anything like they used to. It's awful. It's literally awful. Yeah.
I'll be talking about the fact that at times I'll look at Alex and I'm like, dude, you're white. You'll age terribly. Just leave me alone.
It is. Well, do you think that's from millennia of being just in bad weather?
Probably.
Rain, no sun. For some reason, tan skin seems to age better, or when it wrinkles, you guys don't have such deep crevices.
Yeah.
Crevasse to you, sir.
Or the Botox injection term, which is crow's legs. We're removing them. What were they? Crow's legs, crow's feet, something they used to call
crow's
them.
Feet. Crow's feet is the one that the women get around their eyes. That's nuts. That is nuts. How much time we got? I know we probably got to be close.
We are 27 minutes in.
So we got 3 minutes. What do you want to talk about in 3 minutes, sir?
3 minutes.
Prager University. Even it makes you want to say that because the fucking U is on there. I mean, it's brilliant marketing.
No, we should do that.
Terrible human
stupid company we set up.
Yeah.
Just add a U at the end of it and be like, yeah, we could be an online university. You wouldn't know.
Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is like put a name like Heritage U, or, I mean, any Latin word that you can remember, Celebrium U, that would work.
Yeah,
That would work. At the bottom, I'm at the bottom, Deepak. How do we get out of the bottom? And why is TikTok not loading my videos?
John, I'm pretty sure that someone has probably clicked on report abuse a couple of times for your videos, and now they're like, hang on, let us review this account and see what is going on.
I know. I always wonder when they turn mine down, why they turn them down, because it's very difficult to understand. They're like community guidelines. And I go, that was a video of how to operate some software. I don't even know.
Yeah, sometimes it's like really arbitrary terms where I don't even understand what's going on. And you do try, like I have to, at times now that they renewed and rewrote all of the YouTube's community guidelines and your ratings, I had to go back and change a bunch of our videos because it falls into like this weird gray area where I have to market as a comedy podcast. And that's how we get around that swearing and all that.
Well, the swearing I would say is mostly you, but it's not. It's both of us.
We bring out the best in each other. I don't know why you're so mean today.
I had a guy last night go, well, where do I find that podcast? And I go, on my Facebook feed. And he goes, really? And I showed him and he goes, how did I miss that? And I go, I have no idea. I literally I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure the amount we bitch about social media, all the social media platforms are like, yeah, hide this somewhere.
God, we're shot down on the algorithm. Now that's pretty good. I was telling my daughter, I said, look, this is probably the most cataloged amount of audio on me anywhere. So if someone's going to dog me on AI, this is where they're going to pull all the shit off of there. But they'll have to cut your British Indian accent out.
Didn't have the way your lungs work, Sean, because you keep blowing into the microphone.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, you know what it is so most of the time I do my morning breathing exercise before I come here. You're just hearing what I really sound like. How scary is that?
We almost have 1,200 minutes on here, YouTube.
Is that good? I don't know what that means.
Oh, basically.
Like in produce stuff?
That's how much.
Well, that's why your computer's screwing up. It's full.
Yeah, it's probably like, I just need to stop talking for a day or two, please.
That is awesome.
Well, that was the Villagers podcast. We were talking about shitty animated videos that for some reason got approved into the Oklahoma education system.
Jesus. Amazing. All right, my friend. You have a good day. I will see you. I'll talk to you on Monday. We should have some good funeral stories on Monday.
Okay.
Okay. One thing on our way out, and please don't cut this out of there. Don't take pictures of people in a hospital bed when they're dying. That's not cool. What the fuck would anybody do a selfie with somebody who's dying in a hospital bed? Ain't no pill for stupid. All right, buddy. I will see you. Bye.